Hello and welcome to Bottom 5, where we take a subjective look at the bottom 5 worsts of all time. In today's episode, we'll give our opinion on one of the most iconic professional sports teams in history, the NBA's Los Angeles Lakers. With the NBA resuming its season in the Orlando bubble due to the pandemic, it's hard to recall anything that has happened past this current season. However, true Laker fans can remember the emotional roller coaster that was the 2018-2019 season. During the summer of 2018, fans were counting down the days to the start of what they believed would be a redemption season for the Lakers. Instead, the Lakers experienced one of the most disastrous seasons in sports history. In today's episode, we're going to unpack the 5 worst moments in the Lakers' 2018 to 2019 basketball season. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Number 5. Off-season signings. As their first free agency move of 2018, the Lakers did the unthinkable by hitting a home run and signing future Hall of Famer LeBron James to a 3+1 year deal. This caused the media and sports fans to go completely ballistic. The world speculated who would join LeBron to start a new championship dynasty. To much of everyone's surprise, the Lakers followed the biggest signing of the summer with agreements with Rajon Rondo, JaVale McGee, Michael Beasley, and KCP. Meanwhile, letting Julius Randle and Brook Lopez walk away to join the Pelicans and the Bucks respectively. What stands out about these offseason signings is the Lakers' blatant lack of shooting. President of Basketball Operations Magic Johnson explained that his intention was to create a team that was completely different than the Golden State Warriors. Magic stated, "When you think of some of the teams that had great shooting, besides Golden State and all, those teams really got beat." Magic went on to explain that the key to beat the Warriors is to have a team of multiple ball handlers and guys who can get their own shot. Although an interesting theory, it seemed like a terrible fit given that LeBron James had previously made it all the way to the NBA Finals 8 years in a row through the strategy of putting multiple three-point specialists around LeBron. This concern was proven true as the Lakers struggled all year to allow LeBron space to operate on offense due to the lack of shooting. Defenders were able to double-team LeBron easier by leaving the other Lakers players open on the three-point line. The result of these signings left the Lakers with one of the league's worst three-point percentages at 33.3%. Because of this, some may argue that the Lakers' summer signing should be higher on our list. However, because the Lakers were able to sign the best player in the NBA, LeBron James, Bottom 5 places the offseason signings at number 5. Number 4. Injuries. One of the biggest what-ifs for the NBA 2018 to 2019 season is how far could the Lakers have gone if not for the crucial injuries that plagued them all season. Following a rough start, the Lakers seemed to have finally gotten into a groove. In late December, the Lakers were sitting at a 20-14 win-loss record, which placed them as the 4th best team in the West. By December 25, 2018, the Lakers' Christmas game, the Lakers were playing the best basketball they've played all season. Early in the game, they were leading against the defending champions, the Golden State Warriors, by double digits. The team seemed to have finally put it all together and looked like a real championship contender. Unfortunately, during the second quarter of the game, LeBron James went down with a groin injury that kept him out of the next 17 games. And although Rajon Rondo played the full game, it was found out later that he had broken his hand sometime during the game, causing him to miss the next 14 games. Following LeBron and Rondo's injury, the Lakers only won 1 out of the next 7 games. but began to gain momentum with Lonzo Ball starting to show improvement on offense and living up to his second draft pick potential. With Lonzo leading the surge, the Lakers recorded 4 wins and 2 losses in the next 6 games, with Lonzo averaging 14 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, and almost 2 steals. However, on January 19th, the injury bug struck again. Versus the Houston Rockets with 8 points and 11 assists late in the second quarter, Lonzo suffered a high ankle sprain that sidelined him for the rest of the 2018 and 2019 season. With the Lakers' 3 primary ball handlers in LeBron, Lonzo, and Rondo out, the banged-up Lakers limped along. With no one to initiate the offense, both Rondo and LeBron were forced to come back to the rotation early before their injuries were completely healed. With the changes in rotation due to injuries and other locker room chemistry issues, the Lakers had no team synergy game in and game out. However, when all hope seemed lost for the playoffs, Brandon Ingram stepped up and gave the Lakers hope for one last push. Following the All-Star break, in 9 straight games between February 7th to March 2nd, Brandon Ingram averaged 24 points on 53% shooting, 46% from the free throw line, along with 6 rebounds and 3 assists per game. With the firepower from this newly found Ingram and LeBron duo every game, it seemed like the Lakers would be able to just barely make it into the hyper-competitive 2019 Western Conference playoffs. But like clockwork, prior to the March 4th game against the Clippers, Ingram was experiencing pain in his arm. This pain occurred whenever he would raise his arm over his head. Little did everyone know, Ingram's season was done for. Ingram was diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis, DVT, in his right arm, a medical condition causing blood clots, which, if untreated, can actually be lethal. This was the final nail in the coffin for the Lakers' playoff aspirations. Although injuries happen to every team, the Lakers received injuries to their key players at crucial moments, which is why injuries makes our list at number 4. Number 3, the trade that never was. During the NBA trade deadline in February of 2019, it seemed like luck had finally found the Lakers when Anthony Davis, aka AD, of the New Orleans Pelicans, demanded a trade to the Los Angeles Lakers. With the team struggling to find the right rotations due to injuries, the Lakers potentially trading for one of the top 5 players in the NBA seemed like the perfect solution. Unfortunately for the Lakers, AD's trade request resulted in an absolute disaster for the Lakers season and franchise. During negotiations, Pelicans general manager Dell Demps reportedly refused to speak with Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka and would only speak and negotiate with Lakers president of basketball operations Magic Johnson. With Magic completely inexperienced in terms of NBA player negotiations, the nightmare began to unravel. In some sort of twisted NBA-themed Saw sequel, Magic began bidding against himself in dishonorable seppuku fashion, slowly killing all of the team's leverage. The Pelicans remained quiet while leak after leak came out from the Laker camp, including different trade packages, which included almost every player on the roster. This all occurred over the span of a few days. The Lakers went from a position of advantage and power to practically begging the Pelicans to deal with them. When all was said and done, the Lakers gave their Godfather offer, which included Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, Mo Wagner, Ivica Zubac, 2 first-round picks, 2 future pick swaps, and agreeing to take on Solomon Hill's terrible contract. Having been completely silent up until this point, the Pelicans finally responded by flat-out rejecting the Lakers' offer. The ripple effects this caused for the Lakers was catastrophic. Lakers veterans had no passion to wear the purple and gold after being dangled as trade bait for a whole week. The Lakers' young players took a huge blow to their self-confidence after being rejected by the Pelicans. Player and management relations were in shambles, which Magic tried to remedy by meeting the team during a road game in Philadelphia. However, unsurprisingly, his message of "suck it up and act professional" made matters even worse. This all hit a boiling point after a home loss against the Golden State Warriors on February 2nd. Players confronted Coach Luke Walton in a heated exchange in which veteran players reportedly complained about rotations and playing time. This showed that all chemistry and brotherhood were gone from the Lakers locker room. Players were only concerned for their own well-being, and rightfully so. This shift in the team's attitude was a major contributor to the lost season, which is why the botched AD trade makes our list at number 3. Number 2, 6th missed playoff appearance. With questionable offseason signings, injuries, and dysfunction between players, coaches, and the front office, it is no surprise that the Lakers missed the 2019 NBA playoffs. After a long offseason following the LeBron James signing, Lakers fans worldwide were in utter disbelief that their team would not be a part of the tournament festivities when April came along. What gave the Lakers' shortcomings such a sting was that it became the 6th straight year in which the Lakers had missed the playoffs, the most playoff whiffs in franchise history. Also, the Lakers missing the playoffs ended LeBron's unreal streak of making the NBA Finals 8 years in a row, and no less following his best career season in 2018, where he carried a Kyrie-less Cavs to the NBA Finals. For these reasons, the Lakers' 6th missed playoff appearance places number 2 on our list. Number 1, the Magic Hour. Hours before the Lakers' final game of the 2018 to 2019 season, Earvin Magic Johnson intercepted LeBron James' exit interview in true combo breaker fashion with an impromptu press conference declaring that Magic would step down as president of basketball operations for the Los Angeles Lakers. During his conference, Magic explained that he was dealing with unnecessary pressures and backstabbing that was going on behind the scenes. Magic later explained on ESPN's First Take that his backstabbing comments were targeted at none other than current Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka. Following Magic's exit, the Lakers began to clean house, parting ways with head trainer Marco Nunez, head coach Luke Walton, along with the majority of his coaching staff, and much later in the summer, director of player personnel Ryan West. These were major moves. However, what stood out to the media and fans was the fact that the Lakers did not fire Magic's alleged backstabber Rob Pelinka. This led to a media frenzy, which spurred the first ever Lakers protest held in front of the Staples Center on May 10, 2019. A group of fans came together holding signs and demanded that owner Jeannie Buss hire competent front office staff rather than her friends, that is, Kurt and Linda Rambis and Rob Pelinka. ESPN covered the protest and marketed it as the lowest point in Lakers franchise history. Furthermore, Magic's abrupt departure from the Lakers front office and his slander of them on national TV most likely played a major factor in the Lakers missing out on Kawhi Leonard in free agency of July 2019. Who knows? If Magic would have kept quiet, the 2019 to 2020 Lakers could have been the greatest basketball team of all time. Those are our bottom 5 worst Laker moments of the 2018 to 2019 NBA season. If you agree or disagree with our list, let us know in the comment section below. Also, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can stay in the loop. Until next time, bottom 5 out.